Like, that's what's problematic to me. It's not like the kid saying the F word, which I don't have I'm not trying to be some prude here. This is a sexually graphic comment.
That he is a predator, a bully, a narcissist, a psychopath, and everything else that you can think of, because it is that gross.
I know some people like this movie. Some people are stupid.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds forced their 7-year-old to say this in Deadpool. A 7-year-old girl, a billion-dollar franchise, and a line so vulgar, even Disney hesitated, but they approved it anyway.
Only co-star I argued with. Most people think Kid Pool is the dirtiest.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's daughter, Inez, was just 7 years old when she was pushed into recording one of Deadpool's most shocking moments.
They also admit in this whole thing, yeah, this was all done.
This entire
ad-lib
premise of
and the behind-the-scenes confession? Worse than you think. This isn't just about a dirty joke. This is about what Hollywood lets slide when fame and money are on the line.
Lines, filming, everything about this movie is disgusting, especially when you peel back the layers and see what they were doing.
The entertainment industry has always pushed boundaries, but what happens when those boundaries involve exploiting children? When fame, money, and power collide, the unthinkable becomes reality. And in the case of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, that reality is far darker than their carefully crafted public personas suggest.
And it looks like the same thing that he does to his wife, he is doing now to his daughter. He seems to have a deep hatred for the women in his family, other than his mother.
This isn't just another Hollywood scandal. This is about a 7-year-old child, their own daughter, being manipulated into performing a sexually charged line for one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. A line so vulgar, so wildly inappropriate for a child, that even seasoned industry insiders were stunned it made the final cut.
And they actually find it funny. It's laughable to do this to a little 7-year-old girl, your own 7-year-old girl.
But here's what's even more shocking. They admitted to it, on camera, without remorse. In fact, they laughed about it. This is the untold story of how two of Hollywood's most beloved stars crossed a line that should never be crossed, and how Disney, the studio behind Deadpool and Wolverine, let it happen.
That's kid.
Guiltily, that is my daughter, Inez.
I'm so sorry we have to admit that.
You didn't have to admit it. You didn't have to admit it, for one. You could have just kept that a secret, which I probably would have done.
It all started with a single line. In Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds' daughter, Inez Reynolds, just 7 years old at the time, plays a child version of Deadpool named Kid Pool. On the surface, it seemed like a cute cameo, a fun father-daughter moment. But behind the scenes, something much darker was happening.
Even the daughter was forced to tell a sexually vulgar, predatory gay joke.
During the film's official director's commentary, Reynolds and director Sean Levy revealed the disturbing truth about how that scene came to be.
Hey, when I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's dick out of your mouth.
That's kid.
Guiltily.
The line in question? When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's D out of your mouth.
Yes.
A 7-year-old girl
Saying that.
in a Disney movie. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, you might be thinking, surely, there's more to this.
The thing is, even if it's not her in a mask, the same way that's not her in a mask is the same way she never had to utter those lines. It never had to be her. You could have used a grown man, a grown person who sounds like a kid. Like, first of all, that line was unnecessary. Like, how did we get there?
It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even that funny.
It's bizarre. It was very bizarre. And
The whole
to say
thing
like
is-
the
and then-
parents,
Maybe it wasn't as bad as it sounds.
But no.
It was worse. Because Reynolds and Levy didn't just allow this line, they forced it. Deadpool and Wolverine's director's commentary dropped a bombshell.
And let that come out if the kid wants to admit it later, right? Like, for one, you didn't have to admit it, but he gleefully is about to admit it, and it's worse.
Here's what Reynolds and Levy admitted in the commentary. Inez did not want to say the line. A sexual, aggressive line.
For a child.
Which, to her credit, she really didn't want to say. and then came back later and said, I want to say it now, when I started looking at other people to play
Yeah,
it.
but right.
Some other kid's gonna take your part, Inez. You sure you don't want to do Daddy's disgusting line?
To our
At first, she refused. It made her uncomfortable. Ryan used emotional manipulation to pressure her. His exact words, "Fine. I started looking at other people to play the role." Translation, "Do this or I'll replace you."
We made Nezzy do, I'm not shitting you, 70 to 500 versions of that line.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for that later.
They made her rehearse it hundreds of times. Levy admitted, "We made her do 70 to 500 versions of that line. That's 500 times a child was forced to repeat a sexually explicit phrase. A little girl forced to repeat a sexually explicit line over and over until they got the right take."
I am Father of the Year over here for allowing her to say such language, which
Ryan joked about it. His response, "I am Father of the Year for allowing this."
No, Ryan.
You're not. This wasn't just a questionable parenting decision. This was psychological coercion. A child should never be put in a position where they have to choose between making their parents happy and protecting their own innocence. But in Hollywood, rules don't apply if you're star.
That when she didn't want to do it, well, I'm just going to find someone else to do it. And then no, Daddy, I'll do it. See, when a narcissist, when they're trying to manipulate you, and you can see the grooming start.
Here's where it gets even more hypocritical. Disney, the same company that prides itself on family-friendly content, approved this scene without hesitation. But do you know what they didn't approve? A joke about Mickey Mouse.
In case you're wondering, here's the one joke Disney asked Ryan and Sean to remove from Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's right. In the same movie, Disney executives demanded Reynolds remove a line where Deadpool says, "I can barely breathe with all this Mickey Mouse S in my throat." Their reasoning? It was too vulgar. But a child saying Wolverine's that was totally fine. What does that tell you? It tells you that Disney's morals are flexible when it comes to protecting their own image. And it tells you that no one in Hollywood was willing to stand up for Inez.
Why?
Because Reynolds and Levy framed it as edgy comedy. But there's nothing funny about exploiting a child. And Disney's silence? Deafening.
That's what Disney disapproved, because they didn't want a sexual joke involving Mickey Mouse. But they were okay with a 7-year-old little girl, an innocent child, being forced labor, coerced, manipulated, abused, threatened.
This isn't an isolated incident. This isn't just about one line. It's about a pattern. Ryan and Blake have a history of using their children for publicity while pretending to be protective parents. Skipping work for Taylor Swift concerts. Blake allegedly called in sick during It Ends With Us filming, only to show up at an Eras tour show days later.
So you're gonna let your child stand there and say this in a mask?
Well,
like
to be fair, I don't know if that's Inez under the mask. That could have been ADR'd as well. Just like Matthew McConaughey is probably ADR'd as well. I'm assuming all of those are stand-ins.
Parading their kids for sympathy. They constantly claim they want privacy for their children, yet they're the ones putting them in the spotlight. Now, crossing the line into exploitation, forcing one into an R-rated movie. Forcing a child to perform a sexually explicit line isn't just bad parenting, it's morally reprehensible.
With what happened to his daughter, we're the problem. Everyone is far right, no matter what their political ideology is.
This is a pattern of behavior, a pattern of manipulation, a pattern of using their kids when it benefits them. And every time, they play the "we're just protective parents" card. But real protective parents don't make their kids rehearse sexual jokes 500 times. And it needs to stop.
In a narrative that you want to spin, and you don't give a damn about the kids, you don't give a damn about anybody, as long as your agenda is met, as long as you can dunk on the people who you oppose politically.
What do you think?
Should Disney be held responsible? Should Ryan and Blake face consequences? Drop a comment and share this video, because silence is complicity. And this story isn't over yet.